From Metamora Township High School in Metamora, Illinois, Clutch Sports Media presents live IHSA basketball tonight. An early season matchup in a season that has been anything but normal. The Illinois Valley Central Grey Ghosts have come to Metamora to take on the host Metamora Redbirds. Hello everybody and welcome into the broadcast. Alongside John Camosa and Larry Larson, I am Joey Wright on what is a very special night for us and a very special night for the communities involved. Metamora enters this one 0-1, IVC playing in its first game. And guys, John, we'll start with you. It's the first video broadcast for Clutch Sports Media. Excited to be on with you, Larry, and the whole crew all season long. Yeah, guys, I'm really excited too. You know, like you said, it's a different season. We don't see any fans in the stands here. Players are wearing masks as well as the officials and coaches, but there's still the energy in here. You can tell these guys are excited to get out here and play, and I think we're going to see a really good game tonight. No fans in the stands, as you mentioned, John, but in watching warm-ups, my biggest takeaway is it's loud in here. There's a great energy. Music's playing. Teams are on the floor, getting ready to go, and Larry Larson will turn to you. As we said, very special night for us, but enough about us because we've got a great matchup in store. This IVC team can play, and this Metamora team, young team, but they return a good bit from last year as well. They've got expectations as well.
That's right, Joey. Metamora, always a very competitive team in the Mid-Illini Conference, and IVC has the chance, I think, to be the best team in the Illini Prairie Conference this year. They bring back a lot of talent from last year's squad that had a winning record, finishing 19-11, and they add Mac Parmalee, a transfer from Dunlap, who's a standout there. I'm so excited to watch this one. Mac Parmalee, John, might be the best shooter on this team. Don't think he's the best player, though. Holt Geltmaker, he gets a lot of headlines for good reason. Yeah, Holt Geltmaker is a phenomenal player, and he's only gotten better as the years progress. You know, he's 200 points away from being an all-time leading scorer at Illinois Valley Central. As a team that's had guys like Ryan Thornton, Zach McAllister, that speaks volumes of him as a player. So he's going to be a weapon, too, as well as Mac Parmalee transferring, and it's going to be a great game. Shortened season, but you'd figure if he averages about 20 points a game, it would only take him 10 games to get to that mark. And Larry, we take a look back to Metamora, a team that we saw play quite a bit last year. They do lose a lot, but Ethan Kaiser comes back, and this team will really begin and end with Ethan Kaiser's efforts, the 6'6", 175-pound sophomore. That's right, Joey. I mean, as soon as he came in last year, people knew he was going to be a big deal. He was a viral sensation even before he got to high school, and he's going to continue to get better. Last year, he was certainly a little raw. He had his struggles, but this year I think we're going to see him take a step to the next level. John, have you seen the videos of him dunking over people at the Chris Paul camps? I have, and I was very impressed when I first saw it, but I knew that he was going to be a special player right after I saw that video. And like Larry said, you know, losing a lot of guys from last year, Gabe Mason being one of the best shooters, I think it's going to open the door for Ethan Kaiser to really step up and shine this year. We expect Kaiser to step up. Also keep an eye on key players like Zach Schroeder, Luke McAllister and company. They are back. Michael Zobrist, the fourth senior on this Redbirds team. Solomon Schwartz, a name you might recognize from the gridiron. He started a couple games at quarterback for the Redbirds last fall. Of course, last fall was about a year and a half ago now. But we take a look back to IVC, and we take a look at the head coaching matchups. It's going to be Quinn Morrow on the sidelines for IVC against Danny Greaves for Metamora. Of course, a big record discrepancy there. Danny Greaves with 165 wins entering this season. Quinn Morrow with only 19, but he did a great job in his first season at the helm last winter. Now, I got my seasons all mixed up. Oh, Joey, it's been a long time. Don't worry. We'll all have our little trip-ups today. But, I mean, you're right in Quinn Morrow. He's built a great roster. And, obviously, when you talk about Danny Greaves, you talk about consistent success with the Metamora Redbirds. I mean, you look at the graphic here, 2 regional titles, 1 sectional title, almost what arguably should have been a super sectional title and a state appearance. This Metamora squad and program is as consistent as can be. Guys, Larry, as you were talking there, and some excellent points there, the officials came over, they were joshing around with us a little bit. I am so excited, guys, to be back in here. You miss those interactions with the officials, with the players. Very limited crowd in here. The couple of folks you see, they are just officials, kind of look like fans in the distance. It's a more casual season. We've seen that at the college level as well. JV teams are here watching, but it's going to be so much fun. Oh, exactly. And with the shortened season, you know, starting in early February here and ending in mid-March,
I think that's going to still open the door for a lot of teams to have excitement coming into each game. You don't have a postseason this year, so it's definitely going to make guys more excited to play and really give it their all each night.
This, of course, a non-conference battle, but as you said, John, with no postseason, it's going to be the conference tournaments and stuff at that level, kind of like what we saw with golf last fall.
Yeah.
That make you chase it and make you compete on a nightly basis. We certainly expect to see a good one here tonight. About 20 seconds on the board, national anthem and lineups coming up. And Larry, something we talked about doing this winter, the standings for our local media associates who are in the gym with us. Matt McLean is entered for
he's in first place now.
He's in the first place.
The first media member we have seen at a high school game.
He's leading the standings. The clock's at zeros. We are going to take a quick pause for the national anthem. Back for more Clutch Sports Media. Stick with us.
Matchup between the visiting Grey Ghosts of IVC High School and the Metamora Redbirds. At this time, we ask that you please stand and face the flag for the playing of our national anthem. Today's game is conducted under the regulations of the Illinois High School Association and the Mid-Illini Conference. We encourage players to demonstrate good sportsmanship throughout this contest, no matter what your personal feelings of loyalty may be. And as always, thank you for your cooperation.
Back at you for Metamora Township High School, Metamora, Illinois. Clutch Sports Media live and ready to go. The Illinois Valley Central Grey Ghosts at the Metamora Redbirds. Welcome back into the broadcast booth. Joey Wright, John Camosa, and Larry Larson. The starting lineups are being introduced on the floor. First for the Illinois Valley Central Grey Ghosts. Get these lineups to you in just a second.
As they're introduced.
Like
you're here.
Mac Parmalee is in the starting lineup. He is joined by Camden Wallard. Logan Mercer is in the starting lineup as well. And he will be joined by Peyton Feldman. So John, real quick, walk us through this IVC lineup. You've got Cam Wallard and Mac Parmalee, kind of the two guys we focused on, but Logan Mercer, Peyton Feldman and company. It's a very deep lineup and a very deep roster for IVC this year.
Talk about a lot of talent in your starting five. You got Holt Geltmaker, an Illinois baseball commit. You got Mac Parmalee getting a lot of offers from a lot of different schools of all levels. And then you got Cam Woolard. He's going to Wisconsin Whitewater to play football. Great history there in that school. A lot of talent just outside of basketball here. So IVC's got a lot of athleticism. It's going to be up and down game. Expect a lot of three-pointer shot tonight as well.
And watching the three from Mac Parmalee and now Larry Larson as Metamora's starting lineup is being introduced. We'll get the Redbirds to you here. Luke DeFrance is going to be joined by Tyler Swanson. Zach Schroeder is out there as well. Of course, you've got Ethan Kaiser in the starting lineup, and it looks like, pardon me on that last one, believe it's going to be Drew Tucker in the starting lineup for Metamora. That's their five.
Joey, I'm excited to see what this Metamora team brings to the table. Certainly a lot less experience than this Grey Ghost squad, but just as much talent. This matchup, although the rosters are different on paper, this is about as equal as you can get.
We are set and ready to go. We will not be starting with a jump ball tonight or at any point this season. COVID protocols, Illinois Valley Central to trigger the inbound. Peyton Feldman will get the Grey Ghosts season started right in front of us. Glad you're with us. ClutchSportsIL.com or on YouTube. And Metamora almost forces the steal on the inbound. Feldman gets it back, and the Grey Ghost offense gets to work. Camden Wallard, now he's going to the other side, and Logan Mercer. And it'll be Holt Geltmaker going to work.
That's the thing you'll notice about Holt Geltmaker. He's a guard, but he will get in the post all game long on you. Very strong body. He'll work his way inside.
That's one thing with this roster, Joey. It's very versatile. A lot of guys that are listed as guards and forwards.
Luke DeFrance up top for Metamora, and it's Ethan Kaiser who we spotlighted for the Redbirds early on. He's sharing the ball with Drew Tucker. Now it's Schroeder. No shot clock, of course, at this level of play, as we've grown accustomed to all the college games we've seen in the IHSA's time off. Kaiser's going to go to work from the top of the key, and a kick, 3 on the way, just a little bit off.
A great play there. You're going to get a lot of looks like that. When Kaiser drives the lane, he's going to get swarmed. There's going to be guys open on the perimeter all game long.
Schroeder now feeds, and Schroeder finds Swanson. They'll play catch with it along the outside. And Kaiser, pass to him down low, was tipped. IVC has numbers. There's Ethan Kaiser. That'll be a travel against IVC, but Kaiser showing his hops early.
Oh man, Joey, we're gonna see a lot of that tonight, hopefully. I'm excited.
Yeah, one thing you guys notice how quick he gets back up and down the floor after being blocked, and right there to get his own block.
See if he's a factor on the offensive side. Again, Kaiser, only a sophomore, but one of those heralded players in the area. PJ Star top 10 entering this season. Jim Matson did a story on him before he was a freshman last year. To give you some perspective, Jim Matson, of course, WEEK, longtime sports anchor. Here's IVC defending a 3 in the corner for Metamora, and that's the second 3 off for the Redbirds thus far. Third possession coming up here for IVC, and an open 3 in the corner on the way and in. First points, Logan Mercer puts the Grey Ghosts on the board.
Guys, expect to see Logan Mercer, you know, as opposed to last season, definitely fill a void there and step up big time for the Grey Ghosts this year. Nice shot in the corner from him.
Beautiful shot indeed. Mercer with 3, the only 3 points we've seen. Bit of a lane there for Metamora, and Peyton Feldman did a great job of cutting it off. Redbirds are going to go for their third 3 of the game, and that one has a little too much on it. Rebound corralled by Mac Parmalee. Still swinging around now, and a 3 coming up here. A lot of 3s from both sides. I don't believe we've seen. There was the shot from the layup earlier that was called back on the traveling violation, but other than that, guys, all 3s to this point.
That's not necessarily what I expected out of this IVC squad. Looking at their stats last year, 3-point percentage around 23%. So they're more of a team that likes to drive the lane, but early on here, they're going to shoot the 3.
Schroeder driving it in, another pick and pop. 4th 3 coming up for Metamora. That one falls. Luke DeFrance puts Metamora into a position to tie it. 3-3.
Could be a 3-point shootout tonight, guys.
See what IVC does on offense here. Trying to drive in is Geltmaker. Geltmaker repelled, and credit both interior defenses to this point as Peyton Feldman surveys his options. Finds Geltmaker. Geltmaker will pull up. It's a deep 2, and he's got it. He's on the board. IVC back out in front.
Zach Schroeder was known for his defense last year on Danny Graves' squad, so he's locking down Holt Geltmaker tonight, and that'll be a big test for him, so see how he does.
2 to this point. Schroeder looks for a lane. He's got an open teammate down low. That was Swanson. Swanson kicks corner, the 3 off. 3 no dice from Drew Tucker. Grey Ghosts back quick on the offensive end. It's Wallard in the corner. He's going to drive.
Good.
What a find.
Finger roll from Feldman. 7-3 our score. We're just about halfway into the first quarter. Next dead ball will be a mask break, something that's new in the IHSA, of course, this year, and it ought to be coming up right now.
Yeah, for those of you turning in that aren't familiar, there's a lot of adjustments this year, so we'll see a lot of different things as opposed to, fans and no mask. And it's a shakeup, but we have basketball.
Oh, yeah. It certainly makes things more interesting, but we'll take what we can get, whether that's players or as broadcasters or whatever. We're just happy to be back.
Absolutely. It feels good,
It does.
We walked in, we were setting up, the JV game was going on in front of us, and John turned to me and he said, feels good to be back, doesn't it?
It does.
We missed it. We didn't think we'd be back, quite frankly, even 2 weeks ago, but here we are, and it's a good feeling. 3:50 to play in the first quarter. It is a 7-3 game, of course, as you see down low, favoring IVC. Video, a new addition to ClutchSportsIL.com, and glad you're sharing it with us on this Tuesday night. It's cold outside. You wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
No, and it's only going to get colder. Down to 1 this weekend,
Yeah,
I saw
Sunday.
in the forecast.
It's going to be a
oh,
chilly
boy.
one.
Hey, football season's coming up, though. We'll be outside soon enough.
You miss that football weather in the fall, but it's going to be chilly on those March and April evenings.
It is.
It's still going to be.
See some snow on the ground in those football games, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So out of the break, 3:50 to play, first quarter, a 7-3 game favoring Chillicothe IVC. IVC, a winner in our Clutch Sports Media Madness poll last March, voted the best fan base in Central Illinois. Congratulations to the Grey Ghosts. First time we've seen them live as they try to defend a 3 for Metamora off the mark. Ghosts will push it ahead. Looking is Wallard, and Wallard off the bank. 9-3.
Good take there by Waller. And Mark Pumley's sitting under the basket, getting a lot of rebounds. They like kicking out to the outside, push and transition.
Metamora trailing by 6, largest deficit of the game, and a foul is called. That'll be the 3rd personal of the game. All 3 against IVC. And Holt Geldmaker's going to have to be careful. Pardon me, no, he's got 2 points, not 2 fouls. That'll be the first foul called against Parmalee. So 1 foul to this point, about halfway through the first quarter. You wouldn't think he's got to be too conservative.
Adding Parmalee to this lineup, too, I think it takes a little bit of the load off Geldmaker, Like adding another good scorer who averaged 16 a game at Dunlap last year.
They were, go ahead.
No, I'd like to see how they, adjust with adding that extra piece because they really hit their stride last season.
IVC was a little cold from the field early on, but they've woken up. The offense looks very comfortable as Ethan Kaiser controls for Metamora. Metamora, Larry, not afraid to pass early on here. They're looking for the shot they want. They haven't all gone in, but they've gotten some good looks.
That's what you expect from a fundamentally sound basketball team, is there you get a good look.
How about it? Drew Tucker finds the net. His first 3 of the game, and it's back to a 3-point game. Ghosts quick on the other end, driving is Geldmaker. Geldmaker stopped in an errant pass, out of bounds. Fielded by Quinn Morrow, the IVC head coach.
And you're going to see some new faces, IVC might not see on the scouting report of guys that aren't afraid to shoot the 3, but doubling off on Kaiser only opens the door for other guys to get some open looks.
Joey, earlier I want to go back to a point you made. You said IVC looking comfortable on offense, Metamora moving the ball well, but not exactly looking comfortable. I'm going to be interested to see what type of quality of play we get today. These guys have not played since last March, creeping up on a year now, and obviously that prolonged off season, you get a few practices in, but it's still nothing like game action.
That'll be a foul on Geldmaker, and an excellent point there, Larry. I think that's manifested itself a little in the cold shooting for Metamora early on. They did score 60 points on Saturday in a loss at Bloomington Central Catholic, so an offense that can certainly wake up in time, and Kaiser got up, couldn't slam it home. Now he gets his own rebound, and he'll put that back in. John Camosa, that's what you get with Ethan Kaiser.
Ethan Kaiser has a long reach, so he's going to be right down there. And, they tried to double off on him, but still right up and over. So Kaiser's going to assert himself in this game. I think we're going to see him get going here a little bit.
Kaiser almost caught Brandon Ward's foot to the face there as he hit the deck. It's a fast-paced game, and now we're starting to see the action heat up under the baskets. In all that, Mac Parmalee was fouled, and he's got 2 at the line. That was the first personal foul against Metamora, and it'll go on Zach Schroeder. Only 5 fouls to this point, as Peyton Feldman will come back in Nick Rainey and Brandon Ward come out.
Mac Parmley's not the guy you want to send to the line if you're Metamora. He's going to knock them all down.
Gets them both, and it's 11-8.
Returning for the Grey Ghosts, Camden Wooler.
Yeah, as Larry stated, one thing you're going to see with Mac, he's very consistent. You know, he was at Richwoods before Dunlap. I remember watching him JV. Very consistent shooter.
Scarcely misses an opportunity, and Parmalee from Richwoods and Dunlap as Kaiser off the back iron, rebound corralled by Geltmaker. It's been an interesting journey for Parmalee to this point. You know, 2 schools, but he's settled in and had success at all 3. It's Kaiser in his second year at what we would figure to be his only school, feeds down low and facilitates.
Oh.
And what a block. What a block from Wallard.
Not in my house. On the road, too.
He's used to going up and getting at star receiver for the Grey Ghost football team. Like I said earlier, heading to Wisconsin Whitewater. Very athletic.
Needs 48 points to get to the 1,000 mark.
And at this pace, he'll get there.
You would think.
Good pass by Kaiser.
Now they swing it around the perimeter, does Metamora, and Kaiser was trying to end a career. Oh, wow. He gets fouled. No, pardon me, an offensive foul. But
You think somebody's eager to dunk? My goodness.
they will call that bad. That was a defensive foul as we first thought.
Now, guys, I don't know if we're going to see it tonight or see it later in the season, but if he gets in transition one-on-one, he'll go up on you.
We're ready.
Tell you what, we've got Josh Schwam in the house taking pictures. That would have been a poster. That would have been.
Give him a couple more feet there. I think he would have had that one.
It's the second time he's gone to that, the one-handed attempt. Tried it earlier on an inbound pass, and just the same, John. I think he was just a little too far back.
Yeah, last season's team we saw Caleb Kaiser, his brother, and they would both, you know, alley-oop each other. They both like to be at the rim. So
Kaiser's second free throw off the mark. And the Redbirds get the rebound. Point I'll make on Kaiser in just a second here as Metamora sets up. It's Schroeder.
they like to
Schroeder
move the
off
ball.
glass.
There
They
you
do.
go.
Beautiful ball movement.
Redbirds offense is starting to heat up. Here's Parmalee. Now pardon me, that is Parmalee driving in. Parmalee and Wallard switched numbers prior to this game, so from 23 to 5 goes Parmalee, and Parmalee will go to the line. Point I was going to make, though, real quick on Ethan Kaiser and Metamora. Larry, we'll go to you here. Another in a long line of studs for Metamora. I mean, you look at Nate Cannell, you look at Thomas Hall, both players at Bradley, both 25 for the Braves. Of course, Cannell now graduated and Hall now a freshman.
Oh, yeah.
Metamora has had some big-time success with big-time college players last couple of years under Danny Greaves.
They have, Joey, and that, again, speaks to the consistency of the program. And the thing is, when you mention those stars, of course there are stars in the program, but there's also very good players surrounding them, which make those players better. Because a lot of times in high school, you see one good player and all the rest of the team is not very good. At Metamora, whenever they've got a good player, there's always a solid foundation around them, which in turn makes guys like Kaiser look a lot better.
Yeah, around those guys, they have their stars, and they always have that one unsung hero, that glue guy. Remember Peyton Havens when he played alongside Thomas Hall. Great passer there.
Thomas Hall, as we mentioned, now a freshman at Bradley, a 2018 graduate at Metamora Township High School. Here's Metamora, 2019, pardon me, as they try to get it down low in the
Behind the
post.
back.
Nearly turned over. Metamora stays with it, and big-time credit to Tyler Swanson, who cleaned that up as the first quarter expires.
What a quarter it was, Joey. All I got to say, it's good to be back.
Feels good, and it's 13-all after a quarter on ClutchSportsIL.com. Glad you're with us on a chilly Tuesday night. A non-conference battle here, and it is a battle. It's every bit of the game we thought we would see. And John, your biggest takeaways from that first quarter of play?
Guys, I think it's started off a little shaky, like Larry said, you know, getting back out here playing basketball, new rules, no fans, mask. Might have took them a little bit to get adjusted, but we've seen them both hitting their stride now. Getting in transition, taking three-pointers, not afraid to work the ball around. So Metamora cut back into that lead. Now we got a tie ball game. Looking forward to this second quarter.
I will say I have been pleasantly surprised about how well these two teams have played. Not that I came out here expecting this to be a very bad basketball game by any means, but not a ton of turnovers, not a lot of fouls. They're getting the job done.
Certainly are. A very clean game, only 7 whistles for fouls to this point. 5 of those are on IVC, but they don't have any one player in significant trouble early on. Out of the break, Metamora will inbound. IVC, shall we say, won the opening tip. No opening tip, of course, this year, but they inbounded
Opening
to start
pass?
the game.
I'd assume whoever inbounds the ball won the tip.
Yeah. Won the coin toss.
Yeah.
Super Bowl coming up. Talking football.
Bucks and Chiefs. Both these teams are going to want to be talking football in a little bit. Always fun when these guys hit the gridiron. And how about Tyler Swanson hitting a basket? Redbirds lead for the first time tonight. IVC looking for a response.
There's Cam Woolard launches another one. He's definitely shooting it tonight.
Rebound, Geltmaker, and Geltmaker couldn't put it back. Redbirds running and gunning. That's a bullet down low. It was a nice pass intended for Swanson from Kaiser. And now both teams a little out of sorts. The pace is increased, and they're trying to keep pace with each other. And a little step back from Wallard. It would have been a nice look. Didn't fall, and Kaiser will run the point. John Kaiser's going to slow it down here.
I was going to say, they're playing some up-tempo, starting to get out of their rhythm a little bit, making some turnovers. So I think they need to slow it down and play some Metamora basketball. Work the ball like they were first quarter. Start getting back to a little more comfortable, because I think they're trying to match IVC's transition pace right now. It's just not quite working at the moment.
Michael Zobrist is into the game for Metamora. First time we've called his name tonight. And we'll have a whistle and a sign of the times, guys. When we do have a whistle like that, there's no artificial crowd noise. When the officials have to say something, everyone can hear them.
Joey, it's surreal to think that we were in this gym last March and every single seat was taken. We were jam-packed in here with so many fans from around the area watching the 3A regional. It was a great regional. And now we've got basketball back, but very strangely empty.
3 on the way from Metamora, and hitting is Tyler Swanson. And Swanson, the 6'1 sophomore, a big impact, starting to heat up. Redbirds their biggest lead of the game. They had trailed until the last basket. Or had not led, I should say. It was trailed, it was a deficit, or it was tied.
And as Larry stated, you know, if it wasn't already instilled in the players on the bench to be loud, you can hear them now.
Really got to create your own energy. And a block called there on Kaiser. John, you got to credit Nick Rainey there for IVC attacking the big man, and he's not going to get free throws because of it, but if you can get Kaiser in foul trouble, that's big.
Yeah, nobody's backing down. I like these matchups, and they're going at it. It's a good, intense game right now.
Just joining us, Metamora has opened a 5-point lead, but they had not led before the last basket. 15-13 lead, their first of the game. Great back and forth basketball here. Glad you're with us. Down low and off the glass. Say hello to Camden Wallard.
And early on paper, you know, containing Holt Geltmaker was the key. They've been doing that so far, but, you know, they're working the ball around, finding Cam Wallard. He's playing good right now.
Wallard indeed playing well, as Metamora is going to get another look at a 3. A lot of these 3s have been open, and Tyler Swanson is responding. Swanson heating up.
He is going off.
Ooh. And a charge on the other end. Guy's kind of picking up where Gabe Mason left off with all these 3s, filling in that void there. Gabe Mason, a graduate last year. One of the best 3-point shooters in recent years outside of Nate Cannell.
Next man up.
Yeah, indeed. Michael Zobrist, Larry, was not happy after he was called on the charge.
And we could hear it loud and clear. That poor Redbird alongside the baseline, the logo there, probably caught a fist.
So Metamora the other way, or pardon me.
An IVC player there.
I was going to say, yeah, we'll recap that in a minute. See if Metamora gets another look at a 3 here. It's not going to be Swanson yet, but Swanson's hit the last couple. Swinging, and Metamora going to work. And there's a feed.
There's another 3.
Drew Tucker, in and out and in.
Got every part of the rim on that one.
Drew Tucker fired up. It's a 9-point game. And a foul called there on IVC. It's going to be the 7th foul against the Ghosts. And Michael Zobrist, guys, he came out a couple of plays ago. You don't want to dwell on it, but I just wonder what might have been the cause there, because the play that immediately preceded that was against IVC. These guys are just so fired up right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's what we saw with Tucker a play ago. Hit the 3, and you could see the emotion.
Well, you're going to get a lot of emotion in this game, even though it's a non-conference game, first game of the season for IVC, second for Metamora. I mean, these guys are just so excited to play, and I think we're going to see that all season, not just in this first game. It means so much. It means more this year.
I think he's still got school pride on the line, too. A lot of guys just want to win for their own good, and I think it's great to see. You know, if this is a little taste of what we're going to get this season, we're in store for some good ones.
IVC cleaning it up. Holt Geltmaker says hello. John, IVC has not found themselves in this position yet. We're trailing by 9, now it's 7, but they controlled a lot of the first quarter, and now here they go, maybe some momentum back in Q2.
And what you've seen early in the second quarter, it's like get in transition and find a corner. They're knocking down their threes, and when you can do that, you see the score start to separate a little bit.
Jab step from Parmalee, deep 3 from Parmalee. How about that look? Would have been a 3 in the college game, and Parmalee makes it a 4-point game.
And guys, with the looks he's been getting from colleges, that's what they're looking for. He's not afraid to shoot it either, and if he can get going, we're going to see some good things.
IVC trying to respond,
Good save.
keeping it in. What a play there on the part of Solomon Schwartz. And that's going to lead to a Metamora basket.
Drew Tucker with a nice putback there.
The quarterback making a big play. Parmalee on the other end. That 3 is out. Rebound IVC. Metamora player hits the deck. That's Swanson. 3 in and out for the Ghosts. And a foul called against IVC.
No breaks in this one, Joey, just constant action. That's what you like to see after seeing no action for so many months.
It's a track meet, and that'll take us to our second mask break of the game midway through the second quarter. And Larry, to our viewers who may be just joining us, 26-20 favoring Metamora, but IVC's played very well. It's been a game of runs. They were mini runs in the first quarter. Metamora mounted a big one a couple of minutes ago, but IVC stormed right back into it. A very even game.
Yeah, Joey, and in the first few minutes, you really saw both teams kind of warming up, not in the sense of conditioning, but in the sense of knocking down their jump shots in game situations. And then as soon as Metamora started hitting their threes, then that margin widened, and IVC's been able to cut that back down.
Larry, you stated too, a little bit surprised at IVC coming out shooting as many threes as they've had. I know Wollard's put up a couple, 5, 6.
Yeah.
This is a different IVC team from what I seen last year. So they're definitely playing a different style, maybe trying to match Metamora here a little more.
Hey, if you get Mac Parmalee on your roster, you might as well start shooting the 3 because the kid can knock them down.
Parmalee, as we mentioned, an unconventional journey from Dunlap, and prior to that, John, as we talked about before the show, Richwoods. This is his first game with IVC. And the IVC offense, really early on, they looked very comfortable, you know, and you've got new players, new faces, of course, every season. A long layoff this season, sure, but it's an offense that had a nice rhythm going. If they can get back to that, that's scary for Metamora.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, adding that piece to your lineup, he's a very underrated player, you know, through these years, but he's a weapon.
The clock stands at 3:55. It's 26-20 as you see bottom of your screen. Joey Wright with John Camosa, Larry Larson, Josh Schwam, and Jonathan Michael, the other 2 members of our crew tonight. Can't thank them enough for their work. Free throw coming, 1 and 1. Schroeder has his first.
Zach Schroeder, a lot of experience at the varsity level after playing with such a good team last year, coming off the bench, and even some games starting. He's got a lot of experience on his belt.
Schroeder, the second leg, 1 and 1. He got them both. You almost have to be a little quiet when they're shooting. You don't want to disturb them.
With no fans, too, it makes it, you got to check yourself even a little more.
Absolutely. Geltmaker brings it across the timeline for IVC. And they'll set it in motion with Parmalee. Parmalee, the reverse. Parmalee answers the call. See what Metamora does here. The pace has slowed down a little bit. It was a helter-skelter sort of thing going early in the second quarter, but slowed down. And a lane to the basket, floating it up is Schwartz, and Schwartz with one hand couldn't finish. Mask hits the deck, and that cost IVC a man as they tried to drive it. Nolan Hewlett had to put his mask back on.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Can have a few of those this year.
Normally we see that with shoes. This year we might see it with masks. And Parmalee forces the steal. Loose ball. Here we go with IVC. Parmalee reversing.
Great take.
What a play.
Very smooth on that take.
Mac Parmalee created everything about that opportunity. It's a 4-point game. Metamora the other end. And Schroeder had a lane, to the basket, and he traveled. So now it's IVC with the momentum as Metamora will make a substitution. Tyler Swanson coming in for Schwartz.
Early on, this tells me we're going to see a close finish the way this game's been going.
That's what we anticipated,
Exactly.
honestly. Coming into this matchup, two good programs, a lot of good athletes.
Just what you want in the opening game of the year.
Opening game for IVC. Metamora played another close one in their opener against BCC a couple of days ago. Volleyball match under the hoop, loose ball. Oh, still loose. Parmalee comes away with it. Can he create something again? Looks and he finds Woolard. Feeding down low to Geltmaker, and Geltmaker draws contact. Trying to attack the rim.
I was going to say both these teams would be wise to slow it down at the tail end of this first half, just because you can tell the fatigue is setting in. These guys are still used to getting used to, I should say, playing in masks. So you can tell they're getting a little gassed, and it's resulting in some sloppy turnovers and some missed shots.
And, you know, guys, even sitting here wearing our masks, you notice they get a little warm on your face. It might cause these guys to, like Larry said, get a little more tired, a little more fatigued.
Second free throw coming up from Geltmaker, and that's to say nothing, of course, of, you know, just the physicality of it, and of course the sweat and the heavy breathing. It can't be all that comfortable, I wouldn't think. Got a good one going here, though, 3-point game, and Metamora trying to set something up. Schwartz, the quarterback, centers it up. Good defensive look here for IVC. But again, with no shot clock, Metamora can do this. Look and find an opportunity they want. Couple of tipped rebounds under the basket. Jump ball called there. Larry, we've almost seen two baskets just tipped into the basket.
Yeah, a lot of high flyers. You know, not a ton of players that can dunk, per se, like Ethan Kaiser can, but they can still get up there.
Triggered by IVC, sending it in. There's Nick Rainey back into the game, and Parmalee will cross the timeline, gets it ahead well within the 10 seconds allotted. And IVC goes to work. Geltmaker couldn't finish. Geltmaker, as we mentioned, signed to play baseball at the U of I. Three coming from Metamora, and Luke DeFrance knocks it through. Three-point shooting has started to heat up for the Redbirds of late.
And that's one thing you got to like to see if you're a Redbird fan, but how well they're defending Holt Geltmaker and Mac Parmalee right now.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the scoreboard, Geltmaker's has been largely silent. Only 5 points out of a great athlete who averaged 20 points last season. So we'll see if he turns it on in the second half, but I think that's not to take a lot away from him, but credit the Metamora defense.
Geltmaker, and the window was closed. Leading all scorers right now is Parmalee with 13 for IVC. So here's Metamora, and an open three for DeFrance. Just off the mark, DeFrance. It hit the three prior, and a foul on Metamora. Should go against Drew Tucker. If I saw that correctly, it will.
And guys, equally matched on size here, but even with Kaiser on the bench, Metamora is really asserting their guards in the post and getting a lot of rebounds, so they're playing physical.
They are a bit of a different look without Kaiser on the floor, because then they're eager to spread it out a little bit more, but then that opens up the paint, and they're able to penetrate, as we've seen over and over.
It's Tyler Swanson the foul, but a moot point. Free throw was not good. And an errant pass. IVC can't keep that in, and that's coming at you. I think our mic picked that up pretty well as it clipped off the bleachers.
And they tripled off on Geltmaker there because he's really trying to get inside right now. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, he's a guard, but he's going to play like a big man.
40 seconds left in what has been a great first half. And a quick moving first half at that. Schwartz, the quarterback, going to try to lead the offense. Had a lane, opted out of it, 3 on the way. Knocking it in, Drew Tucker. 9-point game ties Metamora's largest lead to this point. John, is Metamora going to watch IVC take the last shot?
It looks like it. I think they're going to hold here, get a good shot. But guys, they've spread it out between a couple different guys shooting the 3. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing with Metamora. Here's Parmalee.
Ball in hand, Parmalee. Parmalee's going to pull up. Parmalee short off the iron, cleaned up off the glass and in. Nolan Hewlett.
Metamora going to get a look.
They would not. Good defense from Tyler Hudson at the end of the half. The buzzer sounds. And how about that from Nolan Hewlett? A bit of a tough shot there from Parmalee, to say the least. He had to pull up in traffic, but Hewlett stayed with it, kept his eye on the ball, got the 2 just before the buzzer.
What I really like seeing out of both teams, IVC and Metamora, is they're cleaning up the glass, following their shots. We've seen a lot of physicality in the low post, fighting for loose balls. So great first half.
34-27 at the break. 13 points from Matt Parmalee to lead all scorers. Number 5 in gray. And 11 points on a great first half from Drew Tucker from Metamora. So that's where we leave it. We'll take just a brief break here on ClutchSportsIL.com. Turn our mics down. You'll hear some of the ambient sounds. And we'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes. You're watching ClutchSportsIL.com's live coverage of IHSA boys basketball at the half. IVC 34, Metamora 34, IVC 27.
Welcome back inside Metamora Township High School. Clutch Sports Media in with you, taking you through a IVC Metamora matchup, the season opener for the Grey Ghosts, the second game of the season for the Redbirds, and they're out in front by 7 at the half. John Camosa, Larry Larson, and Joey Wright from left to right in our booth. John, I'll start with you. Do you think that first game that Metamora got in has helped with their advantage here today?
I would definitely say yes. I mean, getting out there and getting a little bit of experience, being on that long wait, are we going to have a season, are we not going to have a season, and finally getting out there, I think it does help to have a game under your belt. But IVC looks very strong too. Mac Parmley coming out as a transfer tonight, he's leading with 13 right now.
Joey, and taking a look at the first half, we saw a lot of noise from the outside for Metamora. Not a lot of noise for Ethan Kaiser, however. What do you expect out of him here in the second half?
No, you know, Ethan Kaiser was held relatively quiet there in that first half. For the Redbirds, he only has 3 points, almost, or pardon me, no, he does have 3 points for the Redbirds. Tried, though, a couple different times to slam them home and really kind of create that spark plug of a play that I think the Redbirds needed at that point in the game, but as they started hitting the three and kind of moving away from inside, you know, the arc or inside the paint, he didn't need to do those things anymore. So he got a couple minutes on the bench. Danny Greaves rode the hot hands from beyond the arc, and that's why they are ahead as they are right now. But watch for him to come out and maybe make some plays under the rim in the third quarter.
It will be Metamora basketball to start the second half. In case you're just joining us, quick recap of the first half. These two teams were tied at the end of the first quarter, and then the threes started falling for the Redbirds, and they took the halftime lead. Redbirds hand off to the left wing. Zach Schroeder works it around the arc. It's to France. He had a big first half. Now to Ethan Kaiser. Swanson between the rings. Now to Kaiser. And looks like that'll be a backcourt violation. IVC will get a chance to score the first points of the half.
And guys, I've been really impressed with Drew Tucker and Tyler Swanson right now, especially lighting it up from deep. Those are two names that you're going to see stand out a little more this year, had not played varsity last year. Or not starting varsity.
Feldman scans the floor and turns it over. It's showtime.
Here's your dunk. Two-handed slam by Kaiser. And he'll get above the rim when he's got the break.
That's what the fans were looking for out of the high-flying sophomore. How do the Grey Ghosts respond? Geltmaker into the paint now. Feldman's try is off. Swanson will set up the offense. Looking for Kaiser, and he's turned away, but eventually gets it back to him. He'll take it into the paint. Wanted to go for the shot there, but you could tell he was repelled. Now to France.
I'm really liking the unselfishness tonight. Metamora's working the ball, getting at least 6-7 passes in every possession here.
Zach Schroeder now to Kaiser. Thought about the three, and he turns it over. Grey Ghosts in transition. Geltmaker to the rack and in.
Geltmaker had a bit of a cold first half. Not a cold first half, but kind of took a backseat to Parmley. Nice to see him heat up a little for IVC.
Metamora on top by 7. Looking to add. Tucker inside, hands off to Swanson. Denied at the rack, but never fear, Ethan Kaiser is here.
And you don't want to leave him down there unboxed because he will get to the rim and put those back all day long on you. It'll be fun to see Kaiser and Geltmaker get going and battle it out here in the second half.
Mac Parmley hands off at the right wing.
Oh.
And a turnover.
That was a baseball pass right there. Baseball throw, I should say.
I was a little behind on the score there, Larry. I got to get that updated.
I was going to say.
A lot of points coming here.
Joey Wright asleep at the wheel at producer this half, no less. Metamora 38, IVC 29, as our score bug will soon read. Schroeder now up top to Kaiser. Too strong. Parmley snares the board. He'll walk it across half court. See if he tries another difficult shot, and he is fouled.
That's one thing you'll see out of Kaiser, too. Not only does he get inside, you know, he likes to dunk, but he'll shoot the 3-ball, too. It's nice
Very versatile player.
Nice to have out of your big man. Step outside and shoot it a little bit.
And that's the thing. Once he gets to the college level, that 6'6" height is going to be a little less advantageous.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to have those guard skills. We go back to Nate Cannell. We talked about him earlier. He was 6'6", and he was a guard.
Like you said, high school advantage on your end. College, you blend right in with everybody else.
Swanson's 3 is off, and here come the Grey Ghosts. Parmalee, now here's the 3 from Wallard. It's off. Rebound to Feldman. Unselfish play and a foul will send Geltmaker to the line.
You know, we could see that too in the second half. Geltmaker will get inside on you. And they foul him. You're sending another good free throw shooter to the line. You don't want to put him or Parmalee at the line all night.
Geltmaker, as we mentioned earlier, John, you know, he only needs 200 points or so to get to that 2,000 mark, and he's a guy that's capable of scoring 20 a game, you know, so it's only going to take him a short time to get there.
I agree. You know, even with this shortened season, who knows if we see 18, 20 games, he'll still get there.
Now before the free throws, we've got a mask timeout on the floor. Of course, a newly implemented rule for the IHSA this year. Players getting a chance to catch their breaths. Masks required during play. Masks required for everybody in the gym except officials. But of course, you can see 2 of our officials sporting masks.
As John said earlier, I don't know if this was before the game or otherwise, but it's hard to get the whistle, you know, when you're wearing a mask. We saw one of our JV officials had a purpose-built mask, it looked like, with a whistle compartment.
That's wild.
But nonetheless, yeah, it's COVID protocol is being taken very seriously here around the Mid-Illini. Of course, this is a non-conference game, even though our scoreboard would say otherwise. But being taken very seriously in the Mid-Illini and otherwise, the Big 12, all the conferences in Central Illinois have teamed up and are trying to fight this, get a season in.
You know, and as we go into different gyms each week, we'll see different things. We might pick up on some new things. I noticed that after each quarter, they'll switch out basketballs and then sanitize and wipe that one down. So this is kind of new for us, too, picking up on some of these new rules, getting adjusted. So.
And I know they do that at Bradley basketball games as well. They'll switch out basketballs every once in a while. Now out of the media timeout. I say media timeout, mask timeout. I'm used to the college game. It'll be a free throw for Geltmaker. First one rattles home. Up to 8 points. Geltmaker creeping towards double digits. The senior committed to the University of Illinois to play baseball. He swishes home the second.
The Fighting Illini are getting a great one at Geltmaker. Well-rounded athlete.
Lots of well-rounded athletes on this Grey Ghost squad and on Metamora. Swanson into the corner for Swartz. Now to France inside the arc. Back to Swartz. Schroeder looking for an opportunity. He's fouled.
Nice take there by Schroeder, working his way inside.
Schroeder, the senior, 6'2" guard. That'll be 3 fouls on Logan Mercer. And a little bit of foul trouble here in the third quarter. The first free throw gets the friendly bounce. We want to talk about another well-rounded athlete, Zach Schroeder. That's a name we called on Metamora's football team a few falls ago. It seems like forever ago. Second free throw too strong, but right there is Swanson for the lay-in.
Kaiser kind of interfered with that and deflected it back towards his teammate, who just happened to be wide open under the basket. That worked out perfect for the Redbirds.
Tyler Swanson up to 12. Metamora lead up to 10. Parmalee the response.
Tough shot, but man, he can knock him down.
He is a shot creator. Sometimes when the shots aren't falling, that's a guy you need on your team. Another shot creator, Schroeder. Got himself a look somehow, slicing up the defense, but his layup was too strong.
And you know, Larry, kind of some of these guys being in a long delay, are we going to play, are we not going to play? I think it's given them so much more time to be in open gyms and individual workouts to get that much better. really perfect their craft.
Very true. We're going to see a lot of improved talent. As you saw 3 knocked down by Mercer, and here come the Grey Ghosts roaring back.
IVC has not had a ton of success from beyond the arc tonight. You know, they've hit a couple, but if they can get that part of their game going, they're going to be in really good shape here down the stretch.
They go to Kaiser, do the Redbirds. Now Schroeder. Kaiser. Couldn't be easier.
I was going to say, Larry, he makes it look so easy, does Ethan Kaiser.
And you know, there's not a lot of players in the area who are going to match up with him with that size down low like that.
Cam Wallard knocks it down on the mid-range. A lost art. IVC's good at it. Back and forth we go. Now can IVC pick up a few stops to get back into this one? Get back within striking distance of the lead.
Well, Metamora did exactly that when they trailed early. You know, this game's been just one of runs. IVC seems close to one.
A foul away from the ball. Kaiser was fouled by Parmalee. And that'll be Parmalee's second, so no trouble there quite yet.
Yeah, it's almost a different looking squad out there. You know, with Kaiser on the bench most of that first half, kind of let you see what else you get on this team, but then putting them back in, they could be dangerous.
Schwartz triggers it into the corner. DeFrance thought about the 3, instead takes the floater, and the Ghosts will have an opportunity to get even closer. Mac Parmalee wastes no time, too strong, and the Redbirds force a one and done.
There they go, getting to that corner again, spotting up.
DeFrance got it.
DeFrance likes to find his spot down there, get to that corner.
Timeout IVC as the Redbirds increase their lead back to 8. Joey, if you're in this IVC huddle with Quinn Morrow, what's the message?
Well, yeah, I think it's just stay the course. You know, Metamora hit that 3 there to extend the lead, but IVC, they've been playing real well, Larry, and, you know, it's been up and down on both sides, but you had a little momentum. Looks like they're going to bring in Peyton Feldman, who was a starter. He's going to check back in, but stay the course. Metamora has a little momentum after that 3, but they've been right there knocking on the door.
I think it's going to be important, too, especially defensively. You're giving them a lot of open looks in that corner. They got to make sure they're not getting too caught up and doubling off in that lane and try to push back out there and put a hand up on the corner.
We'll see if the 3s keep falling for Metamora, because we saw in the first quarter they don't always fall.
They don't always fall.
Right now they're hot. We'll see if that slows down. IVC ball out of that timeout, and it's a turnover.
It's good steal there.
Floater from DeFrance rolls in.
And like you said, out of a timeout, that's not what you want if you're Quinn Morrow and the Grey Ghosts.
Probably the most frustrating thing as a coach. You take a timeout, go over the game plan, you get a very bad turnover. Here comes the 3 from Mercer. Rebound to Kaiser. Glides across half court. Swanson drives baseline and a foul. Now the whistles are starting to blow and the game is starting to get a little choppy.
Well, it seemed like a lightning quick first quarter, and the second quarter slowed down a little bit. And IVC is going to have to keep an eye on a couple of players now. Logan Mercer with 3 fouls. You're probably good beyond that, but Parmalee has 2 and then a couple with 1. So you got to be careful here if you're Mercer.
Schwartz thought about the 3, and he's fouled. That'll go on Wallard.
And the Redbirds do a really good job of protecting that ball. It's like they almost forced that foul on there. You know, they're going for steals just to catch back up. You're down 10 with 1:31 in the third, but they're good at holding on to that ball. And
Schroeder spins, and he got it. What a nice bucket from the senior.
IVC having a tough time inbounding it.
Something's got to give for them. They need a bucket here, John.
They do indeed, Larry.
Hudson across half court. He'll try the teardropper. That's not a shot you want, contested and difficult to knock down.
Just a seal on that rim right now. It's
Schroeder spinning. Can't get a second in a row. Here comes Parmalee. Out in front to Geltmaker. Oh, my.
Almost had a dunk of his own on Kaiser.
Wow. Now a timeout or excuse me, a technical foul, if I'm not mistaken, on IVC.
And that is on Quinn Morrow. Might have said something after that, wanting a foul. Could argue that there might have been a foul, but.
Bench warning, so no technical foul quite yet.
But it's getting heated. We like to see this intensity.
Metamora up by 12. IVC working on a comeback. In case you're just joining us, Metamora has pulled away in this third quarter. Kaiser kicks into the corner. Schroeder up top to France from college range. Ooh. No good, and now a foul is called. Yikes.
And guys, the thing that I like about this shortened season, you know, you're only going from February to March. Every game matters because you don't have a postseason, so you're playing for wins. You'll see a lot of teams out here playing with the same type of intensity.
You're playing for wins, John, and you know you're playing for tape. You're playing to send something to the college coaches or wherever you hope to play at the next level. So, yeah, you've got to bring that hustle, that passion every game because people at the next level, you know, your Brian Wardles at Bradley and whoever else there.
Dan Muller's at ISU.
Yeah, all the area coaches.
Got a lot of teams looking. Twitter's big, so you'll see a lot of highlight tapes going out there.
You don't want to be put on the other end of an Ethan Kaiser dunk.
No, you do not.
Joey, you make a great point there because there are a lot of players like that on both these teams. You could argue Mac Parmalee is the biggest case of that, a guy who's got the talent to play at the next level, but still needs to play a really good senior season to get a D1 look or a D2 look. So this season means a lot for a lot of people, and if it didn't happen, then a lot of college dreams would be crushed.
Oh, yeah.
So we get a sub. Logan Mercer to the bench, and Nick Rainey into the game. Drew Tucker will inbound for the Redbirds.
And we saw that last year, Larry.
Here's a lob!
There's a huge
Why?
He rose up for that one.
Boom, shakalaka, as they say on NBA Jam.
Guys, his head was near the rim there, not above.
That'll look good on the tape.
Yep, we're talking about highlight tapes. Put that one on the reel.
How will IVC respond? They need to. Parmalee's three, no good.
If that doesn't fire your team up. Here he comes again in transition.
Listen to that bench for Metamora.
And guys, with this limited crowd, you just got your bench in the stands. You could hear the rim on that one. That was loud.
And honestly, we should have seen that one coming off the inbounds pass. Yeah. Nobody was in the lane.
Nobody's there.
That one's drawn up. You think they practiced that one in practice?
I want to say they've thrown him that a couple hundred times.
It's exactly what we saw at the Chris Paul camps and then at the boot camps as well.
Kaiser up to 11 points as he heads to the stripe.
Entered the half with 3, right? I mean, something close to that.
And fans watching at home, if you're keeping your tally, there's 2 tonight for him. It'll be a surprise if he doesn't get a dunk during a game.
With
First
2 more than almost connected.
2 short. Mac Parmalee jets ahead. Nice crossover. He's going to try the deep range 3, and he got it.
Talk about a way to end the third quarter there, and gave us a little look back here at the media table.
That was for the fans at home. Hello, Mac Parmalee.
Now, guys, I did have a tweet where I mentioned, tune in, watch Clutch Sports Media, and Mac Parmalee actually quote tweeted it, said, tune in. I think he wanted to see the fans see that one.
Oh, my. We have seen some highlights in this one. Welcome back, IHSA basketball.
And just that closing stretch there, we saw a massive two-handed dunk from Kaiser and then a great 3 from Parmalee. A little behind the back action too, and he pulled up from Curry range.
He did. Oh, man. So, John, after all that excitement in the third quarter, what's it going to take for the Grey Ghosts to crawl back?
Well, that definitely helps right there. That's your momentum. Hitting that 3, I would expect them to come out of this timeout. Definitely put the pressure on. You're playing with 8 minutes left. You're down. So we're going to see some intensity out of the Ghosts, but I think they're going to storm back into this game a little bit.
As for Metamora, they're up by 11. Joey, what's it going to take for them to hang on?
I said that last time out for Metamora, or IVC, we go back a couple of minutes, I said they had to stay the course. I think that's as true as ever for Metamora right now. You have that 3 at the end from Parmalee, but just had that slam from Kaiser. And Metamora has played a very good, second and third quarter. And we talk about what does IVC have to do? Well, anything IVC does is kind of predicated on Metamora turning it down a little, right? If they keep the level of intensity up, I think they'll be just fine.
Rainey kicks out. Waller thought about the jumper. That'll be Geltmaker's jumper that is off.
And if a specific key, I think, for Metamora, you've got to force IVC to keep taking jumpers. Make them keep shooting from three, those low percentage shots. Parmley's hit a couple, yeah, but you've got to figure they won't be there forever.
And as Joey just said, you're in desperation mode. You want to force them to jack some of those shots up, so I think the Redbirds are happy with that.
Redbirds being patient. Parmley looked for the steal. Nice little finger roll from Zach Schroeder. Increases the Redbird lead up to 13.
And if that wasn't going in, you got Kaiser right there at the rim again.
IVC comes back with an and one. Cam Wallard to the stripe for one more. That's the response the Grey Ghosts need. And a free throw would get them back within 10 with 7 minutes to go. Lots of basketball left.
Definitely not out of this game. Just got to put a couple plays together here.
Woolard's free throw is short, tipped around right back to him. Here's Parmley's three. Short. Not happy about that one as Kaiser hauls it in. He'll take it up. Here we see the guard skills once again. Going to work on Wallard. Back to Kaiser, head fake to Schroeder into the paint. How about those moves? We have seen that all night from Schroeder, weaving his way through the defense. Parmley needs to be careful and not turn it over.
The thing about Schroeder, too, he'll be all over you on defense. He doesn't let up. Another rebound by Swanson. He's been a beast down there tonight.
And it goes back to what I said just a moment ago. That's exactly the shot that IVC should take if you're Metamora. Keep forcing the threes.
Schwartz to France. Into the corner, Swanson. He had a big first half. Has been quiet in the second half until now.
I talked about IVC finding a little momentum, but Metamora's not letting up.
Swanson up to 14 points. Redbirds with their foot on the gas. Hudson from 15, got it. One of the best shooters on the team, Quinn Morrow told us before the game, and he showed it off a little bit in flashes tonight. Schroeder at the right wing. Work to the left wing to DeFrance. Metamora growing increasingly patient. They can take their time.
Wear them down with all these passes and look for your opportunity.
Drive and kick. DeFrance passed up the three. Lots of passing and lots of time ticking off the clock. You think IVC tries to jump the gun for a steal one of these times?
Another kick to the corner, but they're not gonna take anything bad at this point. You want to play for the best shot you can get. No shot clock.
And Metamora turns it over. That's what you really want if you're the Grey Ghosts right now. They get the basketball back. Lots of work to do. Under 5 minutes to play as we enter the masked timeout.
And you got to think too, guys, forcing that turnover just now, but they got to be a little bit more on them, right? 4:59 left, so you're going to expect a little more pressure here from IVC, especially out of this timeout.
Yeah, John, that's IVC at this point. They're 13 points, not out of it with 5 to go, but they've got to force some turnover. They need that spark. With no shot clock, Metamora could theoretically hold on to the ball for 5 minutes straight. Now, that won't happen.
We've seen things
similar. We've seen
on this court.
3 minutes of constant holding the ball from Washington against Metamora about a year ago now. But yeah, but theoretically, Metamora does not have to do anything else. IVC's got to come to them. They've got to force a steal. It's too early to start thinking about the fouling, but they've got to do something.
Yeah, Danny Greaves, we went back and talked about past teams. We've seen games in the 20s and 30s in the Mid-Illini Conference, so they will definitely pass the ball around for the whole game if they have to.
And, John, a great chance for IVC, I think, right here. I think their best chance this possession to force a turnover is going to be on the inbound. Maybe you bring Parmalee or someone to cover the inbound pass. You know, one of your taller guys. Parmalee 6'3", you probably want Wallard who's 6'5", or Geltmaker's only 6'2". So yeah, you probably want someone like Wallard guarding the pass, and maybe they tip it or something, or get Metamora out of sorts, but they got to go early in this possession.
Oh yeah, and being two really competitive players, not that anyone else isn't competitive on this team, but you're going to see some intensity out of Geltmaker and Parmalee with the real drive to win here. So they're going to, I might see these two guys kind of take over at the end, try to get some buckets for the Grey Ghosts, get them back in it a little bit.
It'll be Geltmaker at the controls. Goes immediately baseline.
Tough shot.
His jumper's no good. That was quick. Quick shot, quick miss. Kaiser in transition, finger roll off the glass.
Took it the whole way.
Got that good speed. Now Parmalee on the other end. Nice dish into the corner. 3 ball on the way from Hudson. He got it. Mac Parmalee on the assist. The Grey Ghosts aren't done yet.
That was a big one. They needed that.
It's a net positive for IVC. You know, that didn't take very long, and they ate into the deficit by a point.
That, I will say, quick note, Hudson's first 3 points of the game. We've seen him shoot a lot. That's his first make.
And a big one at that. They needed that bucket.
Now we see Danny Greaves on the sideline signaling slow it down. IVC going for the press as Schroeder presses ahead and is fouled. Kaser just joining us. It was a closely contested first half, tied after 1 quarter. Metamora took the lead into the locker room, 34-27. And it's been all Redbirds in the second half. Some high-flying Ethan Kaiser dunks, as well as some creative shot making by Mac Parmalee. Folks are going to want to rewind the broadcast to see some of the highlights. My goodness, we've had a few. Schroeder at the stripe, the one-on-one. First one misses. IVC, door open. Wallard scans the floor. Hudson, baseline J, no good.
And that's not the shot you want if you're IVC. Good defense from Metamora. Kind of an off-balance jumper from the mid-range. I just don't think that's going to bring IVC back into it.
Now the clock is starting to work against IVC as if it wasn't already. Metamora continues to work it around. Swanson. Now Kaiser, as he'll dribble backwards and slow it down.
Like we said, they can play this keep-away game being ahead 12 here.
Good foul call. Hudson had his arm interlocked with Schroeder's, and he goes back to the stripe once more. John, as we look at the deficit here, at what point on the clock do you think IVC has to start to foul?
Well, it's getting pretty close after that free throw there. You're going to want to start fouling anywhere under 2 minutes, I'd say. You know, you got to get some pressure. You at least got to force something.
I agree.
Second free one from Schroeder rattles in. He's got the nice touch at the rim, up to 13 points. IVC needs a bucket. I feel like we've said that a few times here in the second half. Parmalee loses the basketball.
Back over. That is not going to help.
Timeout from Metamora.
Redbirds just stole. I mean, not that they didn't really have the energy, but now they got a little more ounce of energy right there. So that turnover, you can see how fired up Schroeder was.
Thanks for joining us on ClutchSportsIL.com. Debut coverage of IHSA boys basketball. We'll have another schedule announcement for you coming up hopefully tomorrow. So stay tuned to our website, ClutchSportsIL.com, as well as our social media channels at Clutch Sports Media on Instagram, at Clutch Sports IL on Twitter, at Clutch Sports IL on Facebook. Larry Larson alongside Joey Wright and John Camosa. It's been a fun one, although the score may not indicate it. Redbirds gaining some separation here in the third and fourth quarters. But IVC has stuck around. Out of the timeout, Schroeder at the Redbird logo.
And when you're trying to stall a little bit, that's the guy you want having the ball is Schroeder. Great ball handler.
So elusive, as we've seen. So many buckets from him tonight, knifing through the paint, working his way through defenders. Really nimble.
I agree, Larry. And they got a lot of weapons on this team. It's give us a look at some new faces here, some guys that can really shoot it. And there's another look to Schroeder.
Wow, that is a beautiful back cut. Great assist from Drew Tucker, sophomore to senior.
And to add to his ball handling, he's quick. His quickness definitely separates him.
Waller to the rack. And he is hurt.
That is not good.
Good sportsmanship there as Kaiser tries to help him out. He gets called over by the bench, but it's good to see
nothing serious.
Waller back up.
Yeah, and you hate to play doctor, but he is walking completely under his own power there. And you know, you're a little rusty. You know, long off season. I know these guys are, of course, high schoolers in pretty good condition, and they've had a couple practices to ramp up, but not going to be uncommon, especially these first couple games back, to see a cramp or a Charlie horse late in a competitive game like this.
Hopefully no serious injuries, but it's a possibility. IVC with the turnover. Parmalee on the wing, nearly lost it but got it back. This is the guy you want to shoot if you're the Grey Ghosts, but Kaiser's on him. They lob down low. Geltmaker up strong off the glass and in. Time is ticking. IVC down by 12. Metamora can hold for as long as they please. Grey Ghosts need a turnover.
This is the type of pressure you need. Try to force one here.
Right in front of us, and a timeout is called by Danny Greaves. Probably a good timeout. You could tell that the Redbirds were getting a little rushed. IVC bringing the full court press.
30-second timeout.
Yeah, and just a 30-second timeout. I agree there, Larry. A good timeout from Danny Greaves. Just wants to calm the troops down a little bit and ride this one out. You'd figure with the 12-point lead. Of course, no lead's safe, and there's still some time on the board, but especially if IVC were to get hot from 3 and force some turnovers. But I like this timeout. Just calm everyone down, go over it in the huddle, and get out of here, hopefully with a win in a short period of time.
Going off of what Joey said, that timeout just kind of reassures your guys, hey, we're still up in this game. We don't need to be playing like we're down. So I don't think there needs to be any sort of, force in how they play. It's just stay calm, relax, work the ball around. Same thing they've been doing. It's been working.
Metamora will inbound right in front of our broadcast booth. Drew Tucker, 6'2 sophomore, will scan the floor. Gets it to Kaiser. Finds a wide open to France, but right there for the turnover is Parmalee.
Kind of a soft pass. Parmalee jumped in on it.
Euro step, too strong. That was a nice move, and it's tipped in. That might have been off a Metamora hand.
And Larry, we've seen a couple, we've almost seen 3 or 4 tip-ins now, it seems like, just on botched passes.
They're going to give Parmalee credit for that bucket. So the senior moving up the scoreboard up to 20 points.
Tell you what, this game's not over. If you were with us on ClutchSportsIL.com last season, it was Limestone at Metamora right here in this building. Metamora trailed and wait on the first here. You can't talk hardly during a free throw in these quiet gyms, but
got to break out the golf broadcasting skills again.
Metamora trailed, though, in that one, and they were down by about this margin late and couldn't quite come back and complete it, but they made it close. Both free throws in.
Schroeder up to 17 points to lead the Redbirds. Parmalee creates a shot, can't knock it down.
Kaiser rebound there, and win or lose this game, Parmalee, nice debut here.
Yes. First from Richwoods to Dunlap, then from Dunlap to IVC. Mac Parmalee, and turning into quite the name around the area. Certainly one that many recognize. It'll be Kaiser to the free throw line as IVC starts to resort to fouling. The high-flying sophomore pounds the rock, knocks down the first.
And guys, coming off a loss, this is the game that Danny Greaves wanted to see from his team. They've showed a lot of intensity tonight.
that really could and should be in the Middle Illini Conference. Mac Parmalee skips to the right block off the glass and in.
It's a good take there by Parmalee.
And, you know, you see Middle Illini Conference basketball on our score ticker, of course, with Metamora being the home team, a Middle Illini gym, but that's why we did that. But IVC, pardon me, I found it. They were in the Middle Illini Conference many years ago, and of course bounced around conferences, and they're now in a conference that really sends them all over the place, especially over to the Champaign area with Tolono and St. Joseph Ogden. So, you know, they've got to do a little road tripping, and they would be a good fit in the Middle Illini Conference. I've always believed that. Them, and maybe even you take another school kind of out not in the country, but, you know, you take a school like Farmington or a couple other schools I think would be able to slide up and compete, but IVC chief among them, especially we talk about boys basketball.
You know, and they strike you as a 3A team. They play a lot of 3A schools, but, you know, they lost in 2A last year to Fieldcrest. So
here comes Kaiser, and he's fouled. IVC was not going to let another jam happen.
Geltmaker made sure of that one.
Yes.
Don't want to add any insult to injury.
No, he was not going to have that. Geltmaker putting forth a good effort tonight. Mac Parmalee in his Grey Ghost debut. Lots of good athletes on both sides. Guys, as we enter the closing stages of this one, Kaiser's first free throw is short. Metamora up by double digits, looking ahead for both teams. IVC will travel to Peoria Christian on Thursday, and Metamora will open Middle Illini Conference play at East Peoria. Redbirds will move to 1-1, IVC to 0-1.
John, I know you, of course, you're a graduate of Peoria Christian, and you're pretty close with Jason Persinger, their head coach. That's not going to be an easy game for IVC. You know, we just talk about, as we'll see 3 free throws coming up here, we just talk about how they're could compete in the Middle Illini with some really good teams, but that Peoria Christian team, that's a team that could sneak up on a lot of very good teams as well.
And a name that really stands out is Daniel Duncan.
There,
6'1" senior guard with, you know, talking about dunks. We've seen a lot of dunks out of him last season, but the thing I really like about this shortened season is you're going to see a lot of the bigger schools play small schools because they're just trying to fill their schedule and giving these kids a chance to play as many games as they can. So we're going to see some good small school, large school battles.
Going back to this game right here, Mac Parmalee. That first free throw gets to 25. The second will get him to 26. A fun note from last season, when Dunlap took on IVC, Parmalee scored 28 versus the Grey Ghosts. Tonight, he's got a chance to match that if he knocks down this next free throw and gets to the line once more. And he doesn't knock down the third. IVC gets the board back. Waller.
Could have hit a bucket here. He might surpass it with a 3.
Here it is,
he
got it.
How about it?
29.
Right on cue. He might hit the 30-point mark.
Guys, you think he's trying to make a statement tonight that he belongs as one of the better area players? He certainly seems like it.
I think a lot of players, not to talk bad about our good friends at the Peoria Journal-Star, but I think a lot of players are miffed that they weren't included on that top 10 boys basketball player list. And of course, it's only 10 players. You can only include so many. And I think that provides good motivation for guys like Mac Parmalee, who were left off that list, and a lot of players that we're going to see throughout the season.
And, you know, guys, I've known coaches in the past that maybe cut those out of the newspaper or pull that up online and show their player, use this as motivation, and it really gets their kids fired up to light a fire under them and really go out there and show them, hey, I do belong.
Mac Parmalee certainly does, nearing the 32-point mark.
On the flip side of that, Larry, you know, the players who did make it, your Ethan Kaisers, your Holt Geltmakers, it's a little motivation to prove that they belong too, you know, and as we've seen from especially Kaiser tonight, a couple of big slams and even more attempts. You know, there's 2 sides to that coin. Those guys, they want to, you know, they want to show the Mac Parmalees of the world, hey, I made it, you didn't, sort of thing.
I will add a note. All those players in the top 10 list certainly deserve it.
Of course, of course.
Redbirds to inbound. They run the spread offense, so to speak.
You know, Metamora being a Middle Illini Conference, some names that you see on there that they'll be going up against. Cade Nation from Limestone. You got Adam Cash from Pekin. So you got guys inside the top 10 there in their own conference is going to prove a test for Metamora as well.
We've seen a lot of those guys last year. Can't wait to see them this year. We'll have a lot of Mid-Illini Conference basketball on ClutchSportsIL.com. First free throw from Schroeder rattles in, as well as Big 12 basketball, occasionally some small school basketball as well.
We'll give Coach Eric Schumerhorn a shout out too with his guy, because Devin Vanderheit's on that list at Washington.
We are excited to see him, tentatively scheduled for this Saturday. Second free throw short.
6'7" forward, almost reminds you of Alec Peters when he played at Washington.
Parmalee step back three, you bet.
Big three. Clock still running.
Now Quinn Morrow lets the clock operator have it.
And surpasses, gets to the 30s. That's a big performance from Parmalee to open up the season, if that tells you anything about who he is as a player.
He averaged 16 last year, so nearly doubling that.
Against a tough Metamora team.
Tell you though, this game has played out almost exactly like that Metamora Limestone game from a year ago. Limestone was on top of Metamora that night, but IVC, they've hit a lot of big shots here, just a little too late. They're going to run out of time, I think. Unless, I mean, heck, it's been a crazy year.
You never know.
You never know.
Like you said, crazy year, and last year I went to a lot of different games, saw a lot of buzzer beaters, which was exciting, but you got to think here, you force a turnover, you get a three, you could still potentially be in this game.
You need a turnover right here.
Right
you don't even need a three, as long as you can get a steal and a layup.
You got to do
that
something.
Gets you to 68.
Yeah.
So you're within three, and then you got a guy like Parmalee who can knock down shots at will. It's a game.
Still got a timeout in your back pocket, too. That's big because the clock does not stop after a made basket.
But as Larry said, you got to defend here. You can't leave any loose gaps.
Here's Tucker to inbound.
And
gets it to Schroeder, and he'll be fouled.
So now you've got to hope for misses.
And it's never good to depend on those.
No.
Schroeder back to the line for the umpteenth time tonight. Seems like we're talking about him at the stripe every few minutes.
And guys, with Parmalee on the scores table, something just itches that he might be shooting a three if they get a missed free throw here.
First free throw, nothing but nylon. 19 points for Schroeder.
Schroeder's been consistent at the line, and if you're a high school basketball coach, you want to see your guys knocking down free throws.
Takes a deep breath, one dribble, and knocks down the second, up to 20. Parmalee fouled. Probably smartly, as he nearly got that half-court heave that wouldn't have counted to go. But he'll go back to the stripe.
I think that was the better safe than sorry approach there.
Yes.
Don't want him to heave one up and make it too close for comfort here.
Not a shooting foul on the floor, so IVC has to inbound. Geltmaker into the corner. Floater from Hudson doesn't go, and that is all she wrote. The Metamora Redbirds come out on top of the IVC Grey Ghosts, 73-66 at the Tepke Gymnasium. Redbirds move to 1-1, IVC to 0-1. And gentlemen, John Camosa, Joey Wright, what a way to start the season.
Guys, that was everything that we were anticipating in a game and came right down to the wire. IVC had to battle back there a little bit, but great opening game for the Grey Ghost. And in Metamora's second game, it's nice to pick up the victory.
Absolutely. You know, it's a great game throughout, and the final score is going to slip away from IVC a little, but, you know, they showed flashes, and it's their first game of the season, too. So it's a team that can compete throughout with some bigger schools, as we said. A tough one coming up against a smaller school in Peoria Christian. But how about Metamora? You know, such a balanced effort. You look at the scoreboard for the Redbirds, 20, 15, 15, 11, a lot of double digits. Yeah, so Redbirds can take away a lot from a big first one of the year.
They certainly can. And guys, before we wrap it up on the first video broadcast of boys basketball and Clutch Sports Media history, any final thoughts?
I really like Joey just said, how balanced they were. You know, I was expecting Metamora to maybe come out Kaiser looking like your strong guy with a little mix of Schroeder, but it was up and down. You know, you look at that board, that's what you want to see in a box score. A lot of rebounds, a lot of assists, a lot of points. That's going to get you victories.
And Joey Wright?
Yeah, as John said, balanced scoring for Metamora, that really keyed it. And both teams, I think, but Metamora especially, did a good job of just not letting the highs get too high, not letting the lows get too low. Started a little iffy for the Redbirds, really cold from the field, but they found their spark. They heated up, they stayed the course, And that keyed Metamora to win number 1.
They move to 1-1 on the season. Again, IVC drops to 0-1 in their season opener. That about wraps it up from Metamora. A huge thank you to our entire Clutch Sports Media crew. John Michael, Josh Schwam working behind the scenes for us this evening. Evan Johnson as well. And our broadcast team, Joey Wright and John Camosa. For our entire crew, I am Larry Larson saying so long from Metamora. Again, the final. Redbirds back to 500, 73-66 over IVC.